This is the auto-dub version of the tutorial, Basics of FreeCAD Assembly 4 Workbench. Please select your preferred language for audio and subtitle. This was created by FreeCAD 0.21, but the operation of Assembly 4 is basically the same in the latest version. Part 2, LCS for Sketch, Datum Line and Axis. Default LCS in Assembly 4. Beside the 3D objects, you can also add LCS to Sketch that could be used for the mechanism of an animation. Continue with previous file. First, create a new body. As we create this in Assembly 4, there is a default LCS. Hide these two parts by pressing the space bar. Then create a new sketch. If we create the sketch in Parts Design, we can select the reference plane. In Assembly 4, we can select the default LCS first. Go to Model and select LCS. Go to Task. Select Plane Face or Object XY, XZ, or YZ depending on our application. Plane Face is the XY plane. Select Plane Face. And draw a linkage on the sketch. Length is arbitrary. Snap this point to the origin. Then create LCS at these three lines. Select the body first. New coordinate system. Select the line. Then click Z tangent to edge. The LCS is at the left-hand side. We can move it to the right by selecting the vertex. Select the body again to create the second LCS. Select the second line and then Z tangent to edge. For this line, we select inertia CS and the LCS is at the middle of the line. And one more for the third line. Select the body, new LCS. Select the line. Click Z tangent to edge. And we can move it to the other end by using map path parameter this time. Select lines number 3. Change the map path parameter to 1. Then the LCS moves to the other end. If we want to flip the axis on line 3, select line 3. Open the Map Mode window. Check the box at the bottom to flip the axis. You can see the blue axis is pointing outward. Create a new body in Assembly 4. And there is a default LCS. Create a new sketch. Select Model, LCS, Task, and then Plane Face. The origin is the default LCS. Draw a rectangle. (25mm by 30mm). Set the distances from the origin to the corner of the rectangle. Select the sketch and extrude 10mm. The default LCS is at the origin. Change the transparency to 80%, and you can see the default LCS at the origin. It is useful when we cannot select the line or the surface for the LCS. Create another body. Create a new sketch. Reference to the default LCS and select Plane Face. Use this tool to draw an irregular shape. And extrude 10mm. Change the transparency to 80% and we can see the default LCS. The default LCS is useful when we cannot select a line or a surface to create the LCS. Go back to Assembly 4. Create a new body for another example. If we want to incline at certain angle, we can control it at the sketch. Or we can adjust the LCS to achieve the same result. Go to Model, select LCS, Tasks panel, then select Plane Face. Open the sketch, draw a stadium. (60mm long. Diameter 30mm. Draw a line between two centers. The center line is 80 degrees from the x-axis. Select the sketch. Extrude 10mm. The default LCS is at the origin and is 10 degrees from the center line of the object. Create another LCS at the top circle. Select the semicircle. Concentric. The x-axis is along the center line. So, there are different ways to set the orientation of LCS for different applications. For some animation, we may need several LCS at the same position, such as using the same part for different positions for different motions. Select the body and we can repeat the process and create LCS at the top. So, there are two LCS and they are exactly the same. Or we can duplicate the LCS like other objects. Select the LCS. Duplicate. Uncheck all the box except the one for LCS. In fact, we can duplicate several LCS at the same time. Sometimes, you may need to join 2 points from different sketches to create LCS. Say one is on XY plane, and the other is on YZ plane. So, create a new sketch on XY plane for example. Draw one line from the origin. Set the angle as 40 degrees. Length 60 millimeters. Then create another sketch on YZ plane. Draw a line from the origin. (20 degrees from the vertical axis). Length 100 millimeters. Join these two lines. We can use Datum line to joint these two lines. Or in Assembly 4, we can create a new axis to join these 2 points. Select the sketch, create new axis. Select the vertex of one line and then the vertex of the other line. Select through 2 points. Click OK. And we can create LCS along this axis. Select the sketch, New LCS. And then select the axis. Axis line is not selected correctly and there is error message at the attachment panel. Sometimes, it is easier to select it from the model panel. Delete the LCS and start over again. New LCS. Go to Model. Select the axis there instead of from the sketch. Return to Task panel. Select Z tangent to edge. Select the vertex. Click OK. Now the LCS is created along the axis and is at the vertex of the line. We have gone through common methods to create LCS, and you will see how this can be applied for generating animation in Assembly 4 in following videos. If you find this video interesting, please subscribe and give it a like. Thank you for watching.